What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Bringing It to the Ring podcast with myself, Wolf. Unfortunately, Willie was not able to make it today, but he will definitely be in on one of the future episodes. I know he's been busy with work and everything like that, but we have had a crazy amount of uh, past 24 hours. We had the first Raw on Netflix in the history books. I mean, a lot of history has been made. A lot of things are starting to be set in stone for what potentially could be for WrestleMania this year, which is about 102 days away, which is crazy to think that we're already less than almost 100 days from WrestleMania, one of the biggest shows that WWE can put on every single year that a lot of people look forward to every single year. Yeah, the tickets are definitely pricey, but it's still going to probably be a good show nonetheless. But Wolf, what did you think of Raw last night? What was your overall excitement level before we start to break down the matches?
I liked it. I liked it. I mean, I kind of wish they didn't cut off the stuff that they did,
Yeah.
but
Mm-hmm.
because there were rumors that it was going to be 3.5 hours, and I'm like 3.5 hours, 4 matches, kind of.
It was weird. It was
Three,
definitely
but
weird for
it turned
sure.
out to be 3 hours, and it was still only 4 matches, and I didn't really like that. But I understand the big moments. You have Triple H introducing uh, the show. You have The Rock coming out. You there was one promo you could have cut instead, but
Yeah.
especially given the reaction that he got from LA.
That Hulk Hogan segment had me dying just because like people did not want anything to do with Hulk Hogan whatsoever. They booed this man out of the building. And then it's like I think there were reports that they wanted to have him be involved with Saturday Night Main Event from Texas. And it looks like they might be pulling the plug on that and they might just have him, not even be featured. They might have him do like a little vignette or something, but not be part of the show, which I'm okay with because I don't
I'm,
think people would be want
nobody
any
wants.
part of him. And it's crazy to think that like we're in 2025 and it seemed like, and I'm not even trying to be political, but it seemed like ever since he did the Donald Trump rally, it seemed like people started to turn on him completely after that. And it's like you can't get away with him like doing this whole rah-rah speech in California,
Well,
any
when
home.
he arrived to LA, he wore a MAGA Powers shirt where it had Trump, Vance, Hogan. Like, I'm like, please do not wear that on TV.
Yeah, I really
Like,
do. But I thought Raw was really good. I thought that, I think for them to, I think honestly, the best way to put Raw for this episode, I feel like it was to cater to the casual fans, except for
right.
us, rather than the diehard WWE fans,
Yeah.
because it felt like they were just trying to appease the people who haven't watched in years and we're trying to get them back. Then trying to appease to like the sponsors and stuff like that. So it felt like there wasn't really too much story development
Right.
and progression on this show, but I feel like
It
next week we
feels like
probably
it
will
was
get a
ending.
continuation.
Yeah. It feels
Yeah,
like
because it
it
felt
was
like a lot
ending.
of stuff was I think a lot of the like you even I think when you because I seen your message in the group chat earlier, a lot of the things that we were getting on Raw tonight on last night were supposed to take place on WrestleMania, but they decided to
Right.
shift and pivot and do it here.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into some of these matches that potentially ended here and what potentially could be next for a lot of these people. So we kicked off the show with Triple H bringing in the new era, and I like the vignette that they did with all the history that happened with the many memories of Monday Night Raw, all the
Where he
moments
like
that he
painted the picture too. That
exactly.
was awesome.
It was really crazy because it was really cool
Really
to
good.
see, like, it was a trip down memory lane of all the best moments that ever take place on Raw. And then we had like a big old sheet that was covering the ring, and then it's unveiled, and Triple H is in the ring to introduce the new era. And then, like, after that, we get another. It's like the pacing was really good on the show too, because we went from Triple H to The Rock opening the show. Now this was really interesting because it's like I did not think they were going to open with The Rock opening Raw. I thought if anything, he was probably going to close the show. People thought he was selfish and everything like that. And it didn't seem like that on this episode. Maybe things will change next week, but at least for tonight, he was not selfish. He actually let CM Punk and Rollins close the show, which, in my personal opinion, and your opinion, I think as well, Wolf, it should have main evented. It really should have main evented the show. Then we have
Yeah.
him coming out there, and it felt like we don't know what the path for Rock for Mania, because it's like he came out there. It seemed like he was just being a babyface. He
Yeah.
gave the
It
title
was
to his
babyface.
kids, and then he was panting to the crowd. He was panting to even Cody Rhodes and giving him praise for carrying the company. People are still
There's
wondering.
two reasons why, in my
Yeah.
opinion. One,
Okay.
because he just finished Moana 2. He just finished being Maui. And of course, kids are Disney kids love Maui. Second, he's not working
Right.
WrestleMania. It just tells me The Rock will not be
Weird.
on WrestleMania.
No, and it
Because
sucks
apparently they're
because
doing
it's like
reshoots for
if we're
live
not getting
action
a
or
Rock,
whatever.
okay, so that's kind of affecting the schedule. So I guess they're gonna push this off until next year for WrestleMania. Me personally, I don't think they need
I
to wait. They could do it at SummerSlam.
Yeah, in my opinion, regarding Rock and Roman, take it off the table for good.
Yeah, if it's not happening this year, I don't think it's
Nobody,
ever gonna happen.
yeah,
I really
nobody.
don't.
Yeah, I've
Now,
seen people
what
online
about
say like,
this?
"Oh, Roman's gonna be the last person Rock ever wrestles." I'm like, people, well, yeah, but then just make it a
I don't know
retirement
about that. I
match
feel
thing.
like there's two things for Rock. If Rock does, come back to wrestling, there's two things. Either you're gonna have him face Roman, or they're going to revisit this stuff with Cody because there's still unfinished business with both guys.
Right.
And my thing is this. Now, kind of not even shifting off the topic, but we did hear that Royal Rumble is going to be held from Saudi Arabia next year.
Yeah.
So they're going to want to make that show really big because we know Saudi is going to throw top dollar for some big stars. Now, is it a possibility if they don't do this Rock Roman match at Mania, they do it in Saudi Arabia at the Royal Rumble? I think they could.
It still would take it would still be too long. People are not gonna want to wait for that story. Basically, if the internet speculation of Roman being Rock's last ever wrestling opponent, just go
Right.
retirement story. Just go all in on the retirement story. And he wants Roman to retire. Him.
Yeah.
Don't go on with the who's the true head of the table, whatever.
Don't
Don't do the Samoan
They don't need to
tribal
do
chief
that.
stuff.
There's no
Yeah,
reason for them to do
just
that.
the tribal
I know
chief
he was
is
tweeting
Roman
about
Reigns.
it, but yeah, and I know he's been, very active on social media, at least for The Rock, under saying calling himself the High Chief, calling Roman the Tribal Chief. So people are saying that might be come into question is who's
Right.
really the chief of the family, who's really in charge, who's really the one calling the shots. And I think people want to see this match,
Like
but I think
maybe they could like shift it instead of uh who's like the head of the table, whatever. Maybe it's like instead like Rock is passing the torch
the
to
torch to
Roman.
Roman, yeah.
Maybe like basically if they want to go on with Roman being Rock's last ever opponent, they could basically be like Rock wants to give the
Yeah.
title of High Chief to Roman, and
Hmm.
and like maybe they're like, oh, are you worthy of being High Chief? And then they do Rock versus Roman, and then Roman wins and becomes High Chief.
Yeah, that can definitely see them doing that. I mean, it's still a lot of unanswered questions as far as what they're gonna do. We seen right after this match between Roman and Solo. That match was really good. I think
Yeah,
even though the interference kind of took me under for a little bit, but they kind of made up for it. I was surprised to see Kevin Owens make his presence felt. When I saw Kevin Owens, I was like, okay, at some point in this match, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Drew cost the Roman mismatch. But no, Kevin
nope.
Owens hits a stunner and he tells Solo to cover him to get the win, but he didn't. Roman kicked out at 2 after eating some Samoan spikes earlier in the show.
Yeah. I
And
think it was
then,
the right decision to have Roman win because
yeah, it was the right decision. Yeah.
yeah,
and and then even after that, you had Cody come in to take Kevin Owens out. Then you still had Jimmy and Sammy take out Tama Tonga and Jacob. And for a lot of people, they were saying, "Where's Jay and all this?" I'm telling people like Jay has a match later. There's no reason for him to be here. If
yeah,
he didn't have a match, then understanding so he would be there. But he had a match later, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. But like you said, Wolf, I think the right guy won. And later in the show, we see Roman and Paul. I think Paul is trying to do some type of celebration for Roman, which I think is going to be on January 26th, 27th ish. And then soon as they go into the door, it pans to WWE 2K25. Now, this gives me reason to believe he will be the cover athlete.
Leo, I want to give you some good news.
What is it?
Cover star for WWE 2K25, at least probably the standard edition, will be Roman Reigns.
Oh, brother. I can't wait
It
to see
is
what the
Roman Reigns,
deluxe.
and Paul Heyman is also
Yeah,
spotted in the
in
background.
the background of it. Yeah. So I feel like we're gonna get a different editions like we did for
Right.
2K24. We had the standard, I believe, was
Yeah.
Cody, and then we had the deluxe, which was Bianca and Rhea, and then we had like a collector's edition, the 40 years of WrestleMania or something like that. So
Right.
maybe we'll get an addition to like that this year, Roman standard. Maybe we'll get another women's, cover. But if we do get a women's cover, who do you think should be on the cover if they're going to do a deluxe edition and do the women again?
I'm thinking of I'm gonna be real. I don't think there's many like big time stuff. There's like only one person I can think of, and it's probably Charlotte. Because
Because
I
I
don't
don't
think
think
Charlotte.
Charlotte was ever
I don't.
on.
Yeah, I don't think Charlotte was ever on a cover. Or they could like maybe do like
Ooh, I just thought of a great idea.
damage control. They could do like
They
a damage
What if they did?
control.
What if they did like they paid a homage to SmackDown vs. Raw? We have multiple superstars on the cover where they do a women's revolution edition where they have multiple
I
wrestlers
could
on it.
do
You have
that. Or
Charlotte,
like
you have Becky, you have Rhea, you have Bianca, you have Io, you have Dakota, you have Liv,
Jay.
Jade. Even I
You
think
could
that would be
even
a
add
great addition.
Naomi because Naomi is actually screw it, Naomi.
I feel like knowing how 2K works, at least how they go about the cover, they usually go with the best person who has had the best year. And I think if you want to say solely women for like, I don't know if they would do Roxanne, but that would be cool just because she had a great year. And then we're
Right.
recording this before
Could
tonight on
maybe do
NXT.
Liv, but
I
I
think
don't.
she had a good year, but
Yeah.
like I don't know if they would put her solely on the cover.
Or
If
like
they did a
maybe they could also do Bailey. Bailey could maybe make it to the cover since well, she is. So, like, we also did get. Well, speaking of which, we did
yeah, we
get
did see that.
first looks of
The 2K
Bailey, of
Liv.
Cody, of Liv, of Damien, and Punk.
I'm not
Uh,
gonna lie.
they
Those
look good.
screenshots looked really good. Cody
I'm
looked amazing.
Cody looks good. Priest, I think, looks the best. So far.
Yeah, I would say It's if I had to rank it,
Live, I'm not like 100% sold on. I think there needs to be some more
be a few
adjustments.
updates, a few more tweaks,
Yeah,
kind of like how
Bailey,
Bailey
I
was
think
last
also
year.
needs to be tweaked. Punk looks good, but he did like kind of look cross-eyed a little bit.
They did that with Drew in 2K22, and people called them out about that, and they had to
Yeah,
fix it. So
yeah,
maybe, but still, it's early edition. So I think on
right.
January 27th, we might get the reveal of when we're gonna get the game, who's gonna be on the cover. I feel like Roman's gonna be on one of the covers, and then maybe we'll get the other two covers being revealed as well. Maybe a
Looks
new
like they
match
also
type,
they said January 28th. I don't know, maybe 27th we get
maybe a
a
Saturday Night Main Event.
teaser or huh?
I think that's when Saturday Night Main Event is because
No,
it's the week before the
27th
Rumble.
is on Monday.
Okay, so we'll probably get on that Raw episode then.
Yeah. So either we'll get a teaser or that might be where Roman Reigns will show up next. Um,
Yeah, because it's 3 weeks, and then they said he'll be back on that episode of Raw. So I think that's probably when that introduced the game.
probably.
Um, but I think overall the match between Solo and Roman was really good. I thought that the perfect person won. I was kind of intrigued when we seen in the background as Roman is celebrating, The Rock comes back out. People weren't really, you didn't have to have the music. People were solely trying to figure out what was going to happen. Me personally, as I'm watching, I'm thinking when he asked Paul Heyman to give him the Ulafala, I'm thinking he's fun to drape it over Roman Reigns and he hugs him and boom, hits him with a rock bottom. That's what I thought was going to happen. But
Yeah,
no, they didn't do any of it. They have got people interested to see what they're going to do because I feel like the one thing right now, a lot of people's path to WrestleMania is unclear. I feel like Roman is a little bit unclear. Is he gonna face CM Punk? Because I think Punk said he has a some type of thing with Paul Heyman. He has a favor. Is that the match that they're gonna do at WrestleMania? Is The Rock gonna come back in if he's actually swerving everybody? Or does he
yeah,
do something else? Or does he even face Drew? Drew's whole thing, he wants to face every member of the bloodline. I think you
yeah,
have two stories ready to go if they're not doing Rock. You have
right.
Drew and you have Punk. You can easily do Punk at WrestleMania. You can easily do Drew at Mania, or if you want to drag it out a little bit more, maybe do this at SummerSlam. And then maybe that's
Good.
where you get The Rock come back and he turns then at SummerSlam. Maybe that's how they go about it. And then that's how you set up maybe the beginning of the end of this feud between Roman and Rock. I think that's what they're going to probably end up doing. And then after this match, we get the 16-time world champion John Cena coming back. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. John Cena, I'm not going to lie to you. I think he might win the World Rumble. I think he is. I think he might just win it. He might
I can
just
see
end up
it.
winning it because he played into the fact that like, oh, the only way I'm gonna win this 17th world championship is by a miracle. He played up that he's like, I don't know if I have much time left. I don't think I can hang anymore. But then he says, I'm not gonna give up at the end, and he says, I'm declaring for the World Rumble. Then we also found out later in there, Punk is also in the World Rumble. So
Yeah,
how ironic would it be for have Punk and Cena be the first two in the match? I think that'll be poetic. I think that
yeah.
would really be so poetic if had those two face each other. It
Or maybe they could be the final two.
That would be even more intriguing because it's like, who do you really go with? Now, I can see them having Cena win, but I can see them also doing the long-term story and having and delaying his moment until later in the year. And maybe you set something up for else for him for WrestleMania. Could you, and I've seen people talk about it online and even on YouTube and other podcasts and stuff like this. What if Cena is in the match and he gets thrown out by Logan Paul and that sets up those two for WrestleMania? Now, I
No,
don't think it would happen at WrestleMania, but I think the match will happen at some point during
it would
his run.
probably happen, but not at WrestleMania.
No,
Like no, there's reports that they do not want Cena's last WrestleMania to be against Logan Paul. Um,
There's different ways to go about it, really, because I know they want to do Cody. Gunther's another one. Maybe
yeah,
you can do like a Braun Breaker if they want him to become a Grand Slam champion, but I don't think that's really his story. I think his whole story is winning the World Championship. So
right.
I don't know if he's going to find himself in the Intercontinental Championship title scene, but it would be refreshing to help elevate that title even more. I mean, we've seen numerous stars over on Raw Netflix last night. We seen Braun Breaker, we seen Naomi, we seen Bianca. We seen numerous stars there last night. We seen Shinsuke, we seen LA Knight. LA Knight was just so funny. He just looked like he didn't want to be there. He was like, why don't I have a match on this show? And it's in my hometown. The second time LA Knight gets robbed of having a match in LA. Like, I don't understand it.
Well,
He
speaking of what's it called? LA Knight. We know that LA Knight is also in the Rumble.
yeah. Could you imagine LA Knight and John Cena? Because I think people wanted to see those two face for a while now.
That would
I
be
really
good.
do.
But as of right now, apparently right now the reports are that Cena will face Cody at WrestleMania.
Now,
Uh,
here's the thing. If they do this, who do you have win? Because there's both ways you can do. You can go either way and not be wrong. You can have Cena win, but imagine if Cena wins and something happens in Cody Rhodes, he flips a switch and he turns heel. That would be so crazy if he did that. I'm not gonna lie to you.
could do that, or you could have Cody turn during the match and
Yes, and
retain.
that would be so crazy because people will be booing him for that. But I'm
Uh,
gonna let you.
oh, well then, yeah. So honestly, could be anything. The rumored matches are Cody versus Cena, um, Roman versus Punk, and Gunther versus Rollins. We'll have to wait and see, but it would be really interesting to see how that works.
Were you able to finish what you were saying?
Yeah. So apparently, the other rumored matches are Roman versus Punk, Gunther versus Rollins. Uh, I don't think there's anything else, but
Now, this is my thing. Now, people have even said this. With the Royal Rumble, it's supposed to be elevating people. Is there a world where we could be seeing Jey Uso winning a Royal Rumble match, the Royal Rumble match? Because I think you
not
could
this
do
year.
Punk, not this year. I wonder if it would be in Saudi for some reason if they
I could
did it
see it.
right. Because
Yeah,
I think Saudi wants the people who get the biggest pops, some of the people that get the
yeah.
bigger pops, and there's
Jay,
no
no
bigger
one
pop.
gets bigger reactions than Jay. So
I'm gonna be
yeah,
honest.
honestly, yeah, Jay probably will win in Saudi.
There's only two ways you can go about this. If you don't have Jay win, I think he needs to win Money in the Bank. I feel like people, for most part, I think he should have won it last year. But it's similar to what they did with LA Knight. Like he was over, but they didn't really capitalize on like they should have. And then look at LA Knight now. He gets pops, but it's not as big as it was in 2023. And I'm
Right,
scared the same thing that's gonna happen for Jay if they don't pull the trigger on this. Like,
right.
will he not be? I don't know what he's gonna do. I don't see him maybe doing title picture stuff, possibly. I feel like we're kind of getting away from that. So, are they gonna do anything else?
I mean, they said that what's it called? That Jay is gonna get to like work and run things. So I think he's gonna still be doing a lot of things and probably still pursuing uh gold. And I don't know, like, I mean,
Well, we'll talk about Jey Uso and what his 2025 look like because later in the show we're going to be going through wrestlers on the WWE main roster and what their 2025 could be looking like. So we'll get to that in just a second. But after that match, after we got the segment with John Cena, we had their second match of the night with Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship. Liv Morgan walked in here, and I think she held the championship for 226 days, which is a great thing because they even showed during her entrance that she has a longer title reign than Charlotte. I think she has a longer title reign than Becky. I believe. I think the people that were above her was like Becky and Rhea, and maybe I think Bayley. So she's in the top 5 for the longest championship reigns. I thought the match
yeah,
was good, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I understood why they wanted to give Rhea the title back, ours, but I just don't know if Liv should have lost. I don't know.
I'm gonna be
I
real.
feel like she was bound to lose at some point. She shouldn't have,
The match wasn't terrible, but
but it could have been better.
yeah, in my opinion, it was the worst of the night. Because it was kind of a little like squashy.
Kind of
Um,
anticlimactic in a way.
yeah, like Rhea got like basically almost all the offense.
The offense, yeah, and
Yeah,
it kind of just felt like they were kind of just diminishing Liv in a way
yeah,
because like look at the year that she's had. Like she's, you know, and I think me going into it, I thought Liv could have probably won because if you look at the last 3 encounters, she's lost. She's lost at She lost literally at Survivor Series. She took the pin. She lost at Bash in Berlin. She took the pin there,
yeah,
and she got DQ'd at Bad Blood. She lost 3 pay-per-views. The last 3 pay-per-views of the calendar year, she
yep.
loses consecutively. So I feel like you could have made up for that by having
I don't know
her
why
win.
people have been like talking shit about Liv.
People
I
have.
think,
People are literally just saying people
yeah,
I've literally been going through the
like they're
comments.
still like thinking that Liv can't wrestle when she's proven otherwise.
She
Um,
literally proved it last night. Even though she didn't get a lot of offense, she still proved that she belonged. Like,
yeah,
when was the last time we had a conversation about somebody kicking out of a riptide? Nobody. I don't think anybody's kicked out of the riptide before. Didn't kick out of a riptide.
nope, no,
Charlotte didn't kick out of a riptide.
nope,
Shayna didn't. All these
yeah,
people that we're talking about have not kicked out of a riptide, but who did? Liv Morgan did.
yep,
That should be a moment that should have catapulted her. But instead, it felt like the fans that were in attendance didn't give a lot of energy to this match like they should have. I don't know if a stipulation should have been in play here because I thought that they were going to do a last woman standing, but
yeah,
apparently that was just a whole rumor and it was a fake
right.
graphic. But if
The
that was the
graphic
actual
people messed it
case,
up, but it was never meant to be Last Woman Standing.
But if that was the case, you could have had an out right here for Liv Morgan to retain. You could have
Yeah,
had both women down. None of them were able to make the count of 10, and Liv would have retained, but they would have both been, it would have been a double decision.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
but now we're back to the drawing board again because now Rhea Ripley is the Women's World Champion. And I feel like she's probably going to end up facing some big stars, maybe like a EO. Apparently, we did see, as we get back to Liv in just a second, but we saw Undertaker, and I was so confused. Why did you have Undertaker come out there for a real celebration? There was no need for it. It made no sense. Storyline, there was no mention of it, none of that. Apparently, the actual, way this was supposed to play out, Becky Lynch was supposed to come in.
no, no, she was not, because not oh that. according to Fightful, not only was Becky Lynch not featured on last night's Raw Netflix premiere, she was not in LA at all.
She
Uh,
wasn't?
she was
Because
not.
what was the reports that were going around this morning that
That was
she was
from Body
supposed
Slam, and now Fightful has debunked that.
kind of,
Apparently.
because apparently what they BodySlammer.net were saying is Becky was supposed to come in and have a stare off with Rhea to set up their feud, potentially going to WrestleMania again. I'm
No,
like, please no.
no.
Please, for the love
We're
of
going
God,
to
no.
find out the plans for Becky regarding WrestleMania, but what's it called?
Now,
She was not planned for the Raw Netflix debut, and her appearance was not cut. But she has agreed to a contract with WWE and is planned for WrestleMania.
yeah, that is true. But my question, as we are talking about Liv Morgan here, with her losing the championship, and it seemed like Dominic was trying to turn her again on Liv, trying to get back with Rhea,
He's a
but got
gold
kicked.
digger.
He's a gold digger. He just goes with whoever's the champion. It seems like at this point, he did
Yeah.
it with Rhea. He did it with Liv, and I guess he's trying to do it with Rhea again, but it didn't work.
Like,
Rhea
nope.
Ripley, Riptide, you got low blowed. And now it's like, okay, the way they set that up, it just seemed like that's the end of this feud. And if that is the end of the feud, we already know Rhea Ripley's going to go into WrestleMania as champion. Her path is already set. What does this mean for Liv Morgan? Like, the question I think a lot of people's mind is, what's next for Liv Morgan? A lot of people have been saying, well, she gets put back in the tag team division. I don't really like that all too well. That is the worst thing you can do after the year that she's had. I think after that, she needs to do something big.
I think they're based on a report from a few months ago. I think Liv might be involved in some faction warfare. Because apparently, reportedly,
after Judgment Day and Wyatt 6.
Yeah, after Wyatts are done with Final Testament, they will go after Judgment Day.
Apparently, I don't know about that because I think they're already teasing that Judgment Day is going to be splitting.
Yeah, I don't really know. Maybe
I don't think they're going to do that.
But the thing is, they also gave Judgment Day new music, and I don't know. Maybe they do transfer window.
Because I think the one thing people have been saying is maybe they send Liv over to SmackDown as early as this week. Because think about it, in the show, we seen literally Bayley be teased as signing to Raw.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna have Bayley on Raw, you're gonna have Becky on Raw, you're gonna have Rhea on Raw, and I think Charlotte's gonna be on SmackDown. Yeah. Who's another big top star that you could put over there with Tiffany and Nia? Have insert Liv Morgan going over to SmackDown. You have Liv go to SmackDown.
But the thing is, you also end up possibly having too many heels on SmackDown unless you you could have Charlotte on.
I think Charlotte could play a face, but people won't buy into it. But they did say her character
was a little darker. People think Charlotte can't be a face. Like, Charlotte is good as a face. Yeah, like, I've seen people say like, "Oh no, she's a terrible face." No, she's a good.
She was a good face in 2017 when she first moved over to SmackDown. I love that what she was doing.
Even what's it called, 2023.
Yeah, she was good. She took the title of Ronda when she came back. I think that was some good stuff too.
It was much more interesting than her as a heel. Like, yes, obviously she's better as a heel. No one can dispute that. She's a Flair, for crying out loud. But
yeah, so it's in her genes.
It's in her genes. But I think it's more refreshing and more interesting to see Charlotte Flair be a face.
Yeah.
Than as a heel. For me, I never really. It's not that I didn't buy into Charlotte being a heel. It's more so I just didn't care for it. I wasn't interested. It got old really fast.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah.
So it's like going back to what we were saying with Liv is, I think going into later parts of last year, she already had interviews where she said she wasn't going to be in the Rumble because she was champion, but that's no longer going to be the case anymore because she's no longer champion. So I do
Right.
think she's going to probably be in the Royal Rumble match. I'm not going to lie to you, Wolf. Might sound crazy, but I do think she might win it. The reason why I think it's a possibility, because if you look at what happens with people who end up winning the Royal Rumble, at least on the women's side, right? What happens a lot of times before they win the Rumble? They lose a lot of matches before they end up winning the Rumble. Same thing that kind of happens like with Money in the Bank. When they win Money in the Bank, they lose a lot before their cash in.
Right.
Liv has lost the last 3 pay-per-views of this year, of 2024. Then in early part of 2024, she lost the Rumble, she lost the Chamber, she lost that Battle Royal to crown the champion after Rhea Ripley was taken out, and she wasn't even on Mania.
If she wins the Rumble,
She goes to
then
SmackDown.
and then she challenges Tiffany.
Yeah, because I think if you're going to probably do now, and here's the 2 different ways you can do this. Now, we do know Liv is going to be a heavy part probably of WrestleMania this year because you got to think about it. She's on the
Right.
Rumble poster. She's on the Chamber poster.
Yeah.
She's on the WrestleMania poster. You're not going to put a star on these posters if they're not going
Right.
to be a key part of the shows.
Part of me thinks that what's it called? I think it would probably be better that if you have Liv win the Rumble, you have Rhea drop the title, probably at Rumble.
I was
To
going to
an
say the
EO or
opposite
something or
because you could
anyone.
do this. So one of the scenarios I've been seeing thrown around is Liv wins the Rumble by screwing over Becky as because those 2 are going to be the final 2. You screw over Becky, right? Becky and Liv have like a one-on-one match where if you know how they did with Daniel Bryan, if Becky wins, she gets added. Liv
Right.
chooses Rhea. Becky gets added. It becomes a triple threat. The match she would have got at WrestleMania last year, we get it at this year's Mania, which will be a good match. I will be honest. Or you could do Liv. You know, she probably doesn't win the Rumble. I don't want this. People have been throwing this idea at me, and I want to bring it up. People have been throwing out the idea Becky wins the Rumble by eliminating Liv. Liv goes bananas and she goes on a rampage, right? She goes into the chamber. She wins the chamber, and the chamber is supposed to be for Tiffany Stratton's women's championship opportunity. Liv wins that. She gives up that opportunity to insert herself into the women's world championship with Rhea and Becky at Mania, which I think is kind of convoluted because like
Yeah,
the
no.
match is supposed to be for Tiffany's title, at least for a number 1 contendership, and you have
No.
Liv win it, only to go back over to Raw.
If
That's a waste of a
anything,
spot.
no, no. That sounds like a terrible idea. In fact,
Yeah.
I think people would not care about that kind of thing. I think people would rather see something more simple and just do Charlotte winning the Rumble again, and
Now,
challenging
if
Tiffany.
Charlotte wins the Rumble, then I think Liv would probably have to win the Chamber.
Yeah,
Because I think,
probably.
honestly, if I'm being honest, Liv is either going to win the Royal Rumble or Chamber this year. I really do feel like she's going to. I really think she's going to. If they're not
Yeah,
going to, because I feel like you could do the way WWE might do. They might pull like a swerve where it might not be as obvious as you think. You know, you could have Liv win by eliminating like a Becky, and then maybe like I said, Becky gets herself inserted some way somehow, like she did in going in the lead up to WrestleMania 35, I believe, and then you could have Charlotte win the Chamber to get her opportunity because that's a thing that she hasn't won yet. That's an accomplishment she hasn't won, but yet you're doing that, but also building up Liv because now she's finally won the Royal Rumble after coming up short so many times. So you're automatically putting yourself back in that conversation. So I don't know what they do. That's a really tough thing to really think about because it's like you don't put her in a tag team again with Raquel. I don't think that's what you need to do. You could maybe do Liv and maybe do Liv and Becky non-title, but I don't really want to see that, honestly. And then maybe her going over to SmackDown would be cool. People said maybe she goes into the U.S. title scene, but I don't know. I think she's kind of proven that she's kind of above that at this point,
Yeah,
but she can still be there if they want her to be, but she's kind of above the mid-card title scene at this
yeah.
point. She's in the main
Honestly,
event.
I mean, again,
Unless you wait till Saudi. Unless you wait till Liv.
if they want, what's it called? If they carry on with the idea of Wyatt's versus Judgment Day after Wyatt's are done with Final Testament, you could just have a singles match between Liv and Alexa, maybe. You have Alexa come back with
Or
the
because
Wyatt.
I'd rather see the Alexa than Nikki Cross. I'm gonna be honest. Liv and
Yeah,
Nikki Cross just might not do it for me.
yeah,
But I
no.
think they already said that the next
You
storyline
could
they
have
might be
Liv
doing.
versus Nikki like on a Raw or leading up to WrestleMania,
Yeah,
but the
but
WrestleMania match would be Liv versus
as
Alexa.
far as but I did see that one of the next feuds that they might do is probably doing um not Final Testament, but the Wyatt Six probably going after the New Day next. I think that's what they said. There's a
You
possibility that
could
they're going to
also
be
do
going
that.
after New Day next in the lead up to WrestleMania. So I think that could be cool. You
Well,
have
the
those.
thing is, it's gonna be hard because the New Day you only have two people.
Well,
Uh,
they can you can kind of have the Wyatt Six be represented. It doesn't have to be the full faction. You can have
right.
Wyatt Six be represented by two of the members, and those two collide, and then all the other tag teams on Raw collide with them as well, and it becomes like a mixed tag. Not even a mixed tag, but like a multi-man ladder match or something, or a multi-man
Yeah,
tag
I'm
team
like
title match at
trying to.
Mania.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like who would possibly.
Because people said Jordan Grace, but I don't think Jordan Grace is facing Rhea Ripley this early. I think you save that for
No,
SummerSlam. I think that's safe for SummerSlam, in my personal
yeah,
opinion. You wait till SummerSlam to do that.
right.
You don't want to fast track that. And then it's not going to be Bianca or Jade because they're going to probably be doing their thing with each other. And Naomi's probably going to be wrapped up in that as well. So you can't
Yeah,
put them in there. Nia Jax is not winning it. Bailey's not winning it. Jordan
yeah.
Grace, I don't think she's winning it, but she might make it to like the final six or something like
But
that.
people are saying possibly EO versus Rhea at WrestleMania.
But I could see that. The only way EO would make sense if they were going to set up like a fatal four-way or something.
Maybe,
If they did a
but
fatal four-way with EO, Liv, Becky, Rhea, then I could see it. But right now,
honestly,
one-on-one,
in my opinion, no, no. If it were up to me, the Forbidden Triangle would not look at each other ever again. I do not want Becky, Rhea, and Liv to be involved with each other whatsoever because I'm sorry, I'm just done with it.
yeah,
Um,
I feel like
I do
you
not.
could.
That's why I do not want Becky versus Liv at WrestleMania. I don't care
I
for
don't
that
want to.
running that
I don't
back.
even want Becky versus like Rhea. No, we seen that last
No,
year.
no, yeah,
You're
yeah,
gonna
no,
so
no,
you're telling me if you give Becky the win, you're telling me she
no,
loses last year to get another opportunity at
no,
the next year's WrestleMania.
yeah,
No.
no, no.
If you want her to be on WrestleMania, here's a good match. Do her and Lyra Valkyria. If you want those two to face
Yeah,
each other for the IC title, that's
do it.
fine.
Yeah, and then yeah, do that
And
and
then you have Becky put Lyra over.
right.
Like
Or
Charlotte.
if Dakota wins the IC title, you can have Becky and Lyra be a tag team, go for the women's tag titles.
And if
Uh,
you want to, you know what I think they do? I think they do a multi-woman ladder match for the IC title. I think you have Becky, Lara, Dakota, Io, and maybe like a Raquel. I see something like that happening. And then maybe and a Zelina Vega if you want to do six. There you go, right there.
yeah.
And then maybe Liv does something else, like you said. Liv maybe wins the Rumble and then challenges for a title. I could see them doing that. But on to another subject, we have CM Punk and Seth Rollins. Now, this match was really good. I'm not gonna lie to you. It really was good. And it felt like Seth Rollins was really playing the heel role in the match through his mannerisms and stuff like that. And before that, I'm sorry, I forgot this about the match. Drew lost to Jey Uso. People
Yeah,
did not think Drew was going to lose, but I
yeah.
said myself, WWE is going to do something people would not see coming. And it happened. He lost to Jey Uso. And now it's going to make Drew McIntyre go into even more of a rage that he's lost to Jey Uso. So what do you do now? Do you have Jey Uso and Drew face each other at Saturday Night Main Event, and then maybe do one more time at the Rumble to finish that? Because I think it might be a best of 3, possibly. Because I thought at first it might be one and done, but it seems like with Jey winning, it might be a best of 3. Because I don't think you're just
Maybe.
gonna have Drew win and then that's in the feud. Because now then it's like it's 1-1. You got to have one more. So I don't know if you do that on the Raw before like a Rumble. I see them doing that maybe, and then have them come back in the Royal Rumble itself. But I thought the match was really good. You had Jay kick out of a Claymore. I don't think many people really kick out of a Claymore at all, or it takes numerous ones. You know, Drew tried to go for a second one, but literally Jay collapsed. Then it was all part of his plan. He got the roll up on Drew to get the 1, the 2, and the 3. And the crowd was really pro Jey Uso. People really love them some Jey Uso, no matter where he is.
But let's talk about the entrance of Mr. Jey Uso
Oh yeah, oh my
with Travis
god,
Scott
he
smoking a blunt.
people were literally saying this man has like 10,000 aura. Like you literally let this man do this in the building. But if it's a regular civilian or fan, we're getting kicked out and possibly a huge fine. We know that, but like it was fun just seeing his entrance. Just like 'cause nobody really thought that they were gonna do that. Travis Scott doing that. It just was funny to me for some reason. But then we also found out next week we'll get the finals of the Intercontinental title match between Lyra Valkyria and Dakota, which will be a great match because I'm torn between both women. I could see both women pretty much walking out with that title, and I wouldn't be upset about it. And then we got Damian Priest, Finn Balor, street fight. I think Finn Balor will win next week. I think what you do, have Finn Balor win, and he gloats and says he gloats and it gets under Liv Morgan's skin, right? And he says, "You see what happens when you listen to Finn? You win. And if you would have listened to me, you would have won against Rhea Ripley." And Liv Morgan goes off the deep end, and it lights a fire under her. I think that's what you do. I think that's the story that they're trying to set up here.
Maybe. You could do that, but
But I think she's gonna leave Dom. I feel like she's leaving Dom at this point after what he did last night because I'm like, you just like you said, Wolf. He's gold digging, and I don't think Liv's gonna be too keen on that. I feel like she's gonna have a war of words with him. Like, what was that last week? Either if they show up on SmackDown this week, because I see either Liv shows up on SmackDown or they continue this on Raw. I feel like she might leave, but maybe they split the Judgment Day, but not fully. Maybe you keep Carlito, JD, and Finn together, and then Liv, Dom, and Raquel go over to SmackDown. I think that's how you do that. I don't know. I don't.
maybe. But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, but CM Punk and Rollins killed it. I really do.
Really
I
good.
think the right person won. I think Punk wins.
I
Then you,
honestly, I thought I probably didn't care who won. I thought they would have possibly had Rollins win and use that as a path to like kind of start getting him towards the world title again, and
yeah,
that's how they start building towards Gunther, the rumored Gunther versus Rollins at
yeah.
WrestleMania. Uh, but I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know what it's going to be very interesting what they do now with this story between Punk, because I don't know if they're going to do a best of 3 here, but I think they're going to try to do Punk and Roman at Mania, and
Yeah.
and it's like, what do you do with Seth? Do you have him go after Gunther? Honestly,
Yeah,
if we seen Rollins already win the Rumble,
right.
I'd say maybe you have Cena win the Rumble, Seth wins the Chamber,
Yeah,
and you set up Seth versus Gunther for the world title. Because I think that's one of the biggest matches you can put on for that world title. If you're not gonna do Jay, and if you probably want to keep, Seth as a face, then why not? I think that's what you
yeah.
do. I think that's the plan that they're probably gonna go through with doing here, honestly, if you want to be honest. But what are your final thoughts on Raw as before we shift into the next part of the the show?
Uh, I think it was fine. I'm interested to see how next week plays out. The likelihood of the debut of Penta against Chad Gable, which that is a good match. I do not like that we are getting Sheamus versus Kaiser number 1 million. Um,
Oh, brother, I'm not a fan of it. I'm like, can we just get over with it already? We kind of seen this numerous
yeah,
times, and
I'm
it's
gonna
like
be
we kind of feel
real.
like
Like,
it's not gonna do anything.
and the thing is, I don't expect Kaiser to win. I fully expect Sheamus to win again. And like, I'm like, if it actually happens, if Sheamus beats Kaiser, there is no question Kaiser is buried. Plain
Yeah,
and simple. Losing probably like what the third time to Sheamus, unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Like, and I'm telling you now, I'm making a prediction right now. The way things are going, if especially if they continue at this rate, Kaiser is not going to win a title in 2025 at all.
they're not gonna. I feel like
No,
we'll get to
not even.
it as far as we go through predictions for different wrestlers throughout 2025, as we're about to start right now. Um, got the full roster pulled up here. We're gonna go by Raw, um, through SmackDown. We'll go from Raw. So the first person we're gonna talk about on here is Akam. We'll pretty much put the tag teams together, if we want to. So the first person or team we're gonna talk about is AOP. What do you think their 2025 will look like
Um,
if you had to
I
make a
think it's
prediction?
probably going to be continuing faction warfare stuff with Carrion still remaining in Final Testament. Maybe they start pushing AOP towards uh, the tag titles. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
at WrestleMania they do a multi-man match for the World Tag Titles. And they put AOP in there. They could even just do War Raiders versus AOP, maybe uh, at
I'm gonna make a
WrestleMania.
bold prediction right here. AOP wins tag titles from Viking Raiders. I feel like
Good,
they might be the ones to do that if they
that would
build this
work.
rightly. Give Viking Raiders a little bit of time with the belts. Maybe let them hold it. Maybe through WrestleMania, and maybe going into the summer at some point. AOP
Yeah,
wins the tag team championships. I think that's
yeah,
what you do with those. Um,
yeah.
from another faction to another one, Akira Tozawa. I don't see him really doing much.
Jobbers, all of them.
I think all of Alpha Academy.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah, I
much.
think all of them pretty much are going to be jobbers. I don't see them really doing much.
They're not doing anything. No,
Unholy Union. This consists of Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. I
staying in
see
the
them.
tag division.
I'm going to make another prediction. Wins women's tag team championships this year. I think they're going to get another run.
Maybe
I see it's a possibility. It's very small, but I see them possibly getting another opportunity to
there
win the
is.
championship again.
I'm seeing there is. I think there is a small possibility, probably on a random Raw. Maybe we get Rhea versus Alba. Uh,
And that might be her coming out match to where people want to see more of her do her own thing.
yeah, maybe, or at least Alba getting more of a push. Maybe they do on random Raws both, like first Alba and then Isla. Um, against Rhea Ripley, but I don't know.
Next person on there, Asuka. Now we're gonna talk about these different, some of these people separately. Asuka, her prediction for 2025 returns at the Rumble, and then probably is in a feud over one of the mid card titles come WrestleMania. If you have her stay with just with the rest of Damage Control, maybe she's in the IC division. If you split her away from them when she comes back, she's over on SmackDown because you want more people over there. You have another person to go be in that US title scene, which will be very cool.
Yeah.
I think
Or
she's
you
gonna
can
win.
also run back Rhea Asuka, like on a Raw or on a pay-per-view
Oh,
before WrestleMania.
maybe like a chamber, possibly.
Yeah.
Maybe a chamber. But I think
Actually,
she
I just
wins.
remembered. Sorry, I'm rewinding a little bit.
No problem.
Actually, regarding Unholy Union, no, I was being too generous. Actually, they're probably gonna go back to NXT.
Well, I did see them tease that.
Yeah, it seems like they probably are moving back to NXT, uh, which I think would be okay.
I think Asuka, she's gonna go out. I think my prediction is she returns to Rumble, and by the end of the year, she wins one of the mid card championships. I really do. I think that is gonna be her goal in 2025. Big
Maybe
Bronson Reed. Now, Big Bronson Reed is injured, but we're still gonna talk about him. My
he
prediction,
is not going to make WrestleMania.
but he will win.
But
I say he wins IC or US by the end of the year,
yeah,
or continues his feud with Rollins. If Rollins wins, at here's a crazy thing: Rollins and Bronson Reed are 1-1 in their feud. We know they were going to continue that at Saturday Main Event, but the injury happened at War Games. You pivoted from all that. Rollins wins the world title from Gunther, and his first challenger after Mania is none other than Bronson Reed making his return. And then you have that final match between the two. The best of three culminates at for the world championship. I think that'd be a great way to bring him back.
I kind of have, yeah, I kind of have like a couple pathways, but kind of the same idea. You could have Rollins beat Gunther, and then you have Bronson Reed come back, maybe not right after WrestleMania, but like a month or
Maybe
two after WrestleMania, maybe after
maybe
Backlash.
Backlash, or even
Yeah,
at Backlash itself, maybe.
yeah. You could have, and then you do Bronson Reed versus Seth Rollins, for the world heavyweight title, or maybe later on in the year, maybe post SummerSlam, you have Cena beat Gunther for the world heavyweight title.
Well, if so, Seth Rollins wins the belt and then maybe drops it back to Gunther.
No, no, I no, just forget Seth and just
Oh,
keep it
so
on
okay.
Gunther, and then
Ooh,
Cena's the one that beats Gunther,
and
and
Bronson Reed faces
Bronson Reed takes it from Cena.
that would get him so much heel heat. It's not even funny.
Yeah, there
Whoever
is.
beats him, I feel like there's different things for certain. Whoever eliminates him for the Royal Rumble, if he's not going to win, is going to get a huge boo out of the building. They're going to boo that person out of the building for sure.
I
Whoever
think
beats him for the world title, if he wins the title, also huge heel heat.
I think what's it called? We will. There is a possibility that Bronson Reed wins the world heavyweight title
In
in
2025, yeah.
2025. Yeah,
Braun Breaker. I mean, he's the current Intercontinental Champion right now. I say he moves up to the world title scene at some point this year. I really think he's going to move up to that world title scene. I don't know what his path is for. I know he's going to go in as champion for the Intercontinental Champion, but I don't know who I can see him facing. Well, no. I'll make a bold prediction. Braun Breaker drops title to Sheamus at WrestleMania. I think Sheamus is going to take that title.
I
I
could
really
see it.
do.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm probably gonna do a more uh dragging out option.
So you're gonna have
Braun
him drag it out till SummerSlam?
probably not even. Braun Breaker remains Intercontinental Champion all year.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's a bold prediction if I ever seen it, because like having him hold that title throughout the rest of the year, that's a full calendar year that you're making that man go unbeatable.
Yep.
Um
And then, well, you know what? When we get to him, I'll
Brutus
talk.
Creed. We'll just talk about Brutus and Julius Creed. I'd say they
Oh,
probably get a tag title. I think they probably get a tag team title opportunity this year, maybe probably win.
if they are being transferred over to SmackDown, then maybe. But with how things are going with DIY and Motor City and Street Profits, like maybe they do have Street Profits take it off DIY and then the Creeds versus Street Profits. But
Possibly, or maybe it's do a multi-man match. Possibly, I don't know.
as far as probably like the first half of the year, they're probably remaining jobbers.
I agree. I totally agree with you on that one. The
I
next
wouldn't be
person that we're
surprised if
gonna
they stay jobbers the whole year.
so the next person we're gonna talk about is Carlito. Now, Jobber
Comedy act.
comedy act. I feel like he's gonna be a Jobber comedy act.
Yeah,
On my personal opinion.
pretty much.
Chad Gable for me wins U.S. Championship. If he's going over to SmackDown, he's winning the U.S. Championship.
I mean, the thing is, you also have a Nakamura to deal with, so you need to
And then
get off.
whoever takes the title off of Nakamura is gonna probably be a face, and then you can plug in Chad Gable right there.
Yeah, you could probably give it back to LA Knight and then do LA Knight Chad Gable, but I don't know. I really don't know. They haven't made it clear. I'll have to wait and see.
CM Punk, my prediction for him, beats Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I think
Yeah,
CM Punk turns heel and beats Roman Reigns at WrestleMania.
I don't know about turning heel, but I could
I
see
think he's
him
bound for another heel run, though.
maybe,
I feel
but
like
I'm just gonna say, yeah, beats Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. And in
Cruz del.
fact, I'll say beats him the same way he beat Rollins last night, which
With
he
the
had
back to back
right,
GTS.
which
That was the
was
back to.
fun fact was also the way he beat John Moxley
Yeah,
in AEW.
that's the story. He beats all the members of the Shield in the
Yeah,
same way. They just fall over all over his shoulder, and he picks them
yeah,
back up with another GTS for the win. That would be so crazy. Like within a 2 year span, the Shield have been beat by Punk back to back to back. It's and they're even doing their own history with Adam Copeland. Like when he returned and he had like the I don't know if it was like part of the chair and he used it in a submission. He did that to Rollins, he did that to Reigns, and then he did it to Mox. It's like the Shield just have a problem with Adam Copeland or Edge and CM Punk. Those two just don't like the Shield. They don't. They have a huge problem with them. And it's funny though. But like, I don't know. I feel like that story of doing Punk and Roman would be really cool. The question is, where do you do it? I think you do it at WrestleMania Night 2. I don't think you necessarily have to have the championship close if you're gonna do night 1 closing the show as a title match. The other one could be non-title if you want it to be. And it's gonna be very story driven anyway, so why not?
yeah.
But Cruz del Toro, we'll talk about all of LWO together. That includes Dragon Lee, Cruz del Toro, Joaquin Wild, and I'm gonna put Zelina Vega separate. But Rey Mysterio, I'm gonna say this. I don't LWO is probably in the tag team stuff, but I'm gonna just say this prediction for Rey. Rey versus Penta at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
and Ray puts over Penta. Because I don't think Ray Phoenix is gonna be in WWE at that point just yet.
Yeah.
I think we still don't have a little bit more time.
I'm
So
going to be a little bold prediction. So I I know earlier you said Braun Breaker versus Sheamus at WrestleMania. I
right,
am going to say at WrestleMania,
Braun Breaker versus Penta.
no,
Oh, I was
Braun
about to
Breaker
say
versus Dragon Lee at WrestleMania.
Braun Breaker versus Ray.
Dragon Lee, Dragon Lee.
Have they faced in NXT before? I don't think they have.
No,
That'll be a
no,
new interesting match.
because the thing is, I've noticed that the speed titles, before we were talking so much shit about them, they actually are leading to pushes for the champions. So I could very well see, maybe it has to be after they lose the title, but I could see Dragon Lee getting a singles push and probably facing Braun Breaker. Maybe not necessarily at WrestleMania, but I do think Dragon Lee will challenge for the IC title this year.
The next person we're going to talk about is Dakota Kai. Easy. Dakota Kai
Women's
wins
IC champion.
IC championship. She's winning that belt this year. If it's not next week, which I hope it is, because my heart is telling me I want it to be Dakota, but my head is telling me it's going to be Lyra. But I want it to be Dakota. Dakota deserves it. She's been clamoring for this one for so long. The fans want it. Dude, just pull the trigger already and see what happens.
Yep.
The next person we're going to talk about is Damian Priest. I want to make a bold prediction. Damian Priest doesn't have a championship match this year. I can see him being on the shows this year, but not in the title picture. Unless you have him go after the one title he has not held yet, which is the same title Braun Breaker is holding, the Intercontinental Championship. You know what? Scratch that. Damian Priest beats Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship at some point, if it's not going to be Sheamus.
Okay.
I feel like Braun Breaker and Damian can actually put on a great match. Damian's proven it. Braun is a killer. I think those two can actually have a good match.
I'm gonna be a little bold. This is probably gonna be on like a B show pay-per-view, and this is based off the transfer window that we are having. We are probably going to see Damian Priest versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship.
But wouldn't you have to? The only way that will work is one of them have to turn heel, and I think you just turn Damian heel face, so you don't want to do that.
Cody.
If you do, Cody turns heel, and then have him face Damian. That would be cool.
Or like maybe Cody decides to like an open challenge or something, or wants to give more opportunities to people, and then you
opportunities to other people, and
then Damian's like,
accepts.
I want to be a campeon again.
I want to be WWE champion.
Yep.
And I think they put up a great match. The next wrestler we're talking about is Dexter Lumis. I'm gonna just say all the white. I'm gonna just put Dexter, Eric, and Joe, and those three. I feel like at least for Dexter and Joe Gacy win tag team championships this year. I feel like they're winning the tag team championships. They probably are. I feel like,
yeah,
even though their whole thing is not really for being champions, but it's really their whole mission is to take out people who've betrayed their families.
Yeah.
But like, I think it makes more sense if you want to have them go after gold at some point to add another title to them and make it a little bit more interesting, kind of freshen up the dynamic a little bit.
Just say more murder.
They're causing more chaos. Imagine they're just causing chaos on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT across the board.
Regarding titles, though, there is one member that I want to get at least a push in a singles title division, and that's
Is it
Rowan.
Uncle Howdy? Rowan?
It's Rowan. Yeah, I think.
I mean, we've seen Luke Harper go after the WWE Championship before, and he
Yeah,
was Intercontinental Champion.
right. And the
So
thing
I feel like
is, we also had from the previous wife, Emily, we had Strowman get singles gold.
all of them
His
have won singles gold except for
Yeah,
Rowan.
except for Rowan. I want Rowan to get his flowers. I want Rowan to get a
When
singles gold.
maybe he wins the IC or maybe US or something, or
Yeah.
maybe he wins a more
Oh,
contendership.
yeah, give it to me. Braun Breaker versus Eric Rowan.
Could you imagine Braun Breaker just being the way he is, just going around trying to murder every person that's part of the Wyatt Six?
Yep.
That soul's dynamic would be so
And
funny.
then
Just
they're
him
like,
trying to,
yeah, Rowan, get this guy. He causes
you
too
gotta
much
go.
problems. We gotta send the big man. That would
Okay,
be a
that was
good
kind of
match, in
funny.
my opinion. I think Rowan's an incredible wrestler. Don't mind the fact that in Willie's universe mode I have Rowan as Intercontinental Champion.
Not, oh my god, bro.
And at this rate he might like straight up end up becoming like the longest reign.
Nah, it's crazy. I think it was in 2K23 or 22. I think whatever game JD was first, JD McDonald was first introduced. The fact that I had him as like US champion and he held that belt for 3 years before he dropped it. Like it was crazy. Like I don't know. 2K is weird, but I'm just glad to see that we're about to get 2K25 be revealed at some point. But the next wrestler, Dirty Dominic Mysterio. I'm gonna make a bold prediction for Dominic. Dominic wins Money in the Bank. I think Dominic might win Money in the Bank this year. They kept him out of it for so long.
I'm gonna make just a simple prediction. First opponent for Cena's farewell tour
Dominic,
versus Cena.
do you do this on a Raw? Do you do this at a pay-per-view?
It doesn't matter. Do it on a live event for all I care.
I think people want to see those two face each other.
Yeah, but probably on a Raw, like or like I don't know, Backlash maybe.
Could you imagine
Oh
them,
no,
even though this is not
because
going to happen? Imagine if they did Dominic versus Cena at Mania, and it's not too out of because here's the thing: they did Cody and Dominic at Money in the Bank in 2023.
yeah,
So it's not too far the possibility, but not like on that big of a stage though.
yeah. I
We
say
already talked
just
about
do it on a Raw.
I say he goes to SmackDown and wins Money in the Bank. If
Yeah,
they're doing a transfer portal thing, maybe he does go with Liv, and then because we did see him talk to
I don't
Nick
know.
Aldis a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Next
I feel like
person
he's
we're gonna
gotta
talk about.
do.
Next person we're talking about, Drew McIntyre. I'm gonna say it beats Roman Reigns either at WrestleMania or SummerSlam. I say Roman loses to both Drew and CM Punk. I think he loses to both guys.
See, I don't
Because Drew, his
know
story
when
is he
this.
never been able to beat Roman. Roman has always gotten the upper hand time and time again through shenanigans and everything.
Well, the thing is, the weird part is reportedly from the transfer window, Drew is supposed to move to SmackDown.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
But they did say Roman is not really solely on just Raw. He's supposed to be
true.
doing on both. So he could still
You
do it.
could do Drew Roman, whether at WrestleMania, whether at Hell Saturday Night's main event,
SummerSlam. You could
SummerSlam.
do it. You could do it at
Yeah,
maybe
I'll agree.
yeah.
Drew beats Roman Reigns.
Next person, we already talked about Eric Rowan. I say the other Eric for we're talking about the Viking Raiders. I just say they lose the
War
tag
Raiders.
titles. War
No more
Raiders. You know what? I know I've been saying so much about different tag teams winning. I say lose tag titles to New Day.
Yeah, that works.
Lose the titles to New Day. Oh my God.
That would be
The heat
wild.
the heat that the
It would
New
be
Day would
wild.
get if
Mhm.
they won the tag titles and came out gloating and said, "We did it on our own. We did it without Biggie. We never needed him. We were always holding him up. He was holding us back." That whole thing would just be so phenomenal. No pun intended. I think that's what you do. Finn Balor, I'm gonna say it, wins world title this year. I think he's winning a world championship. If they want to, if the plans are true, that 2025 is going to be a big year for Finn Balor. What better way than having him win the world championship? What if you did have the Judgment Day turn on him and he became a face and had him face Gunther for the world championship? That would be so
Or
cool.
another thing you can do,
What is it?
Finn Balor dethrones Cody Rhodes.
You know what I thought you were about to say? I thought you were about to say Demon Finn versus Uncle Howdy.
That could also work, but the thing is, I don't know. I feel like Finn doesn't want to do Demon anymore.
Well, he says he wants to do.
Yeah.
He just wants to do Demon, but not all too often. But I think the thing with Demon Finn is a lot of the times we see Demon Finn Balor, he's there, but he doesn't want to, make it
Well, if they want
all
to
the time.
do
It's occasional.
Judgment Day versus Wyatt Six, then yeah, they could do Demon Finn Balor versus Uncle Howdy at WrestleMania.
I'm gonna make a bold prediction for this next one. Gunther loses world championship before Mania. I think there's a possibility he could lose that belt before Mania or even at Mania. But I think it'd be so cool to see him lose it because it's like, what does his path will look like if he doesn't make it to Mania or if he just not
I don't
champion?
know.
Because he's proven he could do anything. Now we still have that looming cloud over the WWE, at least for Gunther being Goldberg. And I don't. Hopefully, this is probably like on a
Apparently,
chamber or a
now
Saturday main event.
there is reports, and keep in mind this is someone I don't trust whatsoever, but
Okay.
Meltzer says on the 4th week of Raw Netflix. So that's like that might actually be the 27th of January. Goldberg is supposed to show up. Goldberg has agreed to a retirement match, and it is most likely going to be Gunther. So maybe we get on a Raw Goldberg versus Gunther as a retirement match for Goldberg, or
Yeah.
probably Saturday night's main event. I don't know, or like Royal Rumble. I don't know.
The next person we're going to talk about is Ilya Dragunov. I'd say comes back as a heel.
No,
I
I'm
see
a
comes back as a heel.
I'm gonna be honest. ACL tears suck.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably going to be out the entire year almost. Because well, actually,
What his
well, no,
timetable puts him? The timetable puts him around like
at
summer.
least
So
9 months. So
so
since injury,
that puts
so
him around like Money in the Bank time.
no, not even.
Money in the
It
Bank is
puts
in
him like,
July, and
but
he got
yeah, but
injured.
he got.
Before Bash in Berlin. He got injured in August.
Oh really? I thought he got
He got
injured like
he got injured in August, so that
November.
would be September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. So that's makes 9 months. So he probably would be back in time for Money in the Bank in the lead up to SummerSlam.
Could be. Well, now that you know what, now that I think about it, oh, okay. If he comes back leading up to SummerSlam, I think you have to pull the trigger on
On
the
him and
match that
Gunther.
everyone
Him
wants
and
to
Gunther.
see, SummerSlam. Gunther versus Ilya.
You know what? If you do, you just made me think about it. Not him come
But
back as a heel, but here's the crazy thing. I know I said him come back as a heel, but I don't think they're gonna do this. I'm gonna scratch that.
I
Ilya
mean, if he does,
Dragunov
he can challenge Cody.
wins. Yeah, that would be
Can you
cool.
imagine
But
Cody
here's
versus Ilya?
that match was slap. But my prediction for Ilya Dragunov wins King of the Ring.
Oh my god, yes. Yes, if they do it again, yes, please do it.
Do King Ilya versus Gunther for the World Championship at SummerSlam, bro.
Yup, yup,
And
yup.
then you could have John Cena versus Ilya. Oh my god.
King Dragon. But I wanted to talk about a. So I'm a little bit cheating. I'm gonna go into next year, for things. I think because before I said Braun Breaker stays IC champ the entire year.
Right, but you did.
WrestleMania 42, Braun Breaker versus Ilya Dragunov for the IC title. Ilya wins.
Hey, either way, I am fine with that.
Yeah,
Because you're making a bigger star out of him, and he
yeah.
gets
I
his moment.
think regardless, Ilya is. I think they're gonna have Ilya take the IC title from Braun.
We already Ivy Nile is similar to the rest of them. I don't see her really doing much. I'm gonna be honest. I'm sorry. Maybe
I
she
need
might get
to
some
I
showtime
need
here
to
and
pray.
there.
I need to use the bathroom and then I need to pray. So I will be back.
Okay, gotcha. But Ivy Nile, I don't really see doing too much this year. I see maybe possibly she has a opportunity at the US title, but I don't see her winning the belt. I don't. Ivy Nile, her in NXT was really cool, and I was all for it. But I think since they brought her up to their roster, they have not done well by her at all. Now, her being with the Creed brothers made sense. Putting her with Chad Gable made sense. You want to turn her heel. You're trying to do something with her. Fine. You did the story between this new Alpha Academy or American Made, as they call now, versus the Wyatt Six. It was cool, but after that, everything just kind of just cooled down, and now it seems like there's just Chad Gable, and the other three are just serving as henchmen. They aren't doing anything. They're barely on TV sometimes, and if they are, they're with Chad Gable almost 24/7. And it's like if you're trying to build up Ivy, not that they want to, which it doesn't seem like that they're trying to, she would be doing her own thing still, even though she's with the faction. We've seen factions numerous times be in a faction, but still have been able to go after their own separate accomplishments. There's no excuse that you cannot find something for Ivy Nile. Ivy Nile has the physique of a killer. Not gonna be. I'm gonna be honest. She has the physique of somebody who can legit hurt you. Like, and they're not really like leaning into that, like to where she can be like have that physique where and be that type of person. I don't know if it's because of her height in a sense, because sometimes WWE does that where they try to go with a bigger than life type of wrestlers, but that's no excuse even then because we still had Liv Morgan, which we'll be talking about in just a little bit, as we go through the people for 2025. She's not as tall or has the greatest physique, but it's serviceable. So there is no excuse if you have somebody who has a physique like an Ivy Nile who just has that UFC boxing knockouts all out brawl type of physique, but you're not doing anything with them. If you wanted to be honest with me, you should have kept her in NXT and then brought her up to be alongside the Creeds. I'm gonna be honest, because her in NXT right now could probably be putting up some great matches, being on her own, getting her own show, her own time to develop a character, develop her in-ring work, her promo work, all the things that are necessary to be a big star on the roster. And I feel like they're not taking the time and doing these steps to make sure that she is elevating. And I feel like she is going to be in that category of people who could potentially be released if they're not going to be putting stock into them. If you're not putting stock into these wrestlers, if you're not devoting time to help elevate, to get the crowd invested in these wrestlers and what they're trying to do, from the stories to the characters and all of that, then you're not doing any of anybody a favor by having somebody else if you're not going to do anything with them. If you're not going to just have her be in the title scene, if you're not going to have her pretty much be a wrestler, because now we're starting to see people who I've seen in NXT have decent matches, go to the main roster and become managers and do nothing, and have so often appearances in matches. We've seen it numerous times. We've seen it with Alexa Lopez, BFAB, and we're seeing it with Ivy now. And I want to see BFAB get an opportunity. I want to see Alexa Lopez potentially get an opportunity as well. I want to see these women succeed and flourish and continue to elevate and get better over time and progress and get the fans behind them. I want to see that. But if you're not devoting time into them, then what is the point of wasting everybody's time to try to get invested in these people if there's no story, there's no end goal, there's no end game, there's nothing. There's nothing at the end of the tunnel for these men and women. So I don't know what you're going to do. Ivy Nile should be in the mid-card title scene. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She has now her in-ring work is not the best. Her being on the microphone, not the best, but the presence that she has should be studied, honestly. So I don't know. I think that, like I said, we're in an era now where things are kind of different. We're seeing the Triple H regime being different from the previous regime, where if you weren't really the four horsewomen, you really didn't do much. And I hope Ivy and I finds herself in the same categories as people like Chelsea and Meechin and Piper, as women who weren't really doing much last year. Well, like in the beginning parts of last year, I would say, but later in the year, finally were able to pick it up and have some good matches and find themselves in title contention. We've seen Piper challenge for the title at what was it? I think it was in Glasgow, so that had to be I think Clash of the Castle. So yeah, you could do that. You could have you know have Ivy Nile be built up alongside those people if you put her on SmackDown. If you're putting American Made on SmackDown, which I think is probably gonna be the plan anyway. If you're being honest, I think you want to put that whole faction over on SmackDown if you're probably going to end up putting the Bloodline over on Raw anyway, and we're probably going to be seeing the dissension of the Bloodline at some point for the Babylon era, and even them, but the Judgment Day as well. We're already seeing the Judgment Day be, you know, lose and start to lose their way and lose everything around them. So it seems like they're going to probably be breaking up at some point. So have a team or faction like American Made be able to step up to the plate and really show the fans and everybody watching at home what they can really do. Because I think you have the Chad Gable running things, and he's no slouch. He's one of the very best, in my personal opinion. And I want to see what they do with him going forward. I think he's proven that he can be a great hand, whatever show you put him on. And I think he's able to carry, no matter what he's able to do, he's able to make whatever he's given work to the best of his ability. That just goes to show how good he really can be. Going back to last year, seeing Chad Gable even be in the way that he was, I thought he could have won the IC title from Gunther, which is something that I feel like a lot of fans feel like we were robbed of, because I think a lot of people were seeing that they were setting up for them to face, but they end up pivoting and then end up going with none other than Sammy to be the one to take the title. Then it led to this heel turn. We felt like he was going to be the one to take the title of Sammy, and that didn't come to fruition either. So it's like we're kind of out of options on that. But with Ivy Nile, I think she is going to be doing something hopefully special this year. Maybe she has a little bit of a coming out party where she's able to, maybe rack up a few wins and maybe get an opportunity at the very least for the U.S. Championship. Hopefully that is the case that they decide to go in, but we will have to see on that. Um, Io, I think Io, um, she's one of the best workers. She is one of the very best they have in from an in ring standpoint. Um, And I think she's every time she's in that ring, she makes magic every single time. From the magic she's had in NXT, from with Candice and Raquel, and the matches that she had on the main roster with Bailey and Bianca. And I think she's gonna do so much more. I think with Io, and they're even teasing stuff with Io and Rhea. I think that's gonna happen at some point. Her and Becky had a great match. I don't know if we had Io and Charlotte face each other, but I think those two would have a great performance if you were to give those two an opportunity to face each other. I would love to see that. But my prediction for Io this year, I think she wins one of the mid card titles. I think her winning potentially the one of the Royal Rumbles chambers and stuff like that. I think that kind of would be cool. But I think you want her to be part of the mid-card title scenes to add another layer to that division and continue to help elevate the division and all those that's involved in that division. So I think having Io be part of that and helping the people that's in the division, having some matches with the people in the division, I think would really help. Having a big name like that around your division who can work with pretty much anybody and pretty much give them a good match. We've seen it happen with Liv Morgan recently. She had a great match. That was probably one of Liv Morgan's best matches of her title reign. We've seen, as of recently, Io and Lyra Valkyria. Those two just have chemistry for days. I want to see those two revisit that. If they give Lyra the title, have that be one of the defenses or first few defenses for Lyra as champion. Her and Io. I think that would be really cool to have those two face each other one more time and have it for the championship because I think they're 1-1 now. So why not make it a best of three and this time be for the championship? So I'm gonna make that prediction for you. I think she's still gonna have a great year from the in-ring capacity and maybe add another title to her resume with whether that's the US or IC title respectively. But I do think she's gonna win another championship in 2025. I don't think it's gonna be the world titles, but I think for the least mid card title, and I think she'll have another great showing in the Royal Rumble. I think she'll even have another great spot in the Money in the Bank this year as well. So I think she's still gonna have some big moments that are still yet to come for Io. But on to the next wrestler, JD McDonough. I think it's safe to say JD. She's pretty much just gonna be doing just being a henchman for Judgment Day. I'm just gonna be honest. Jey Uso is one of the most over in the company right now. He's one of the most over in the company. One of the most over in the company. He needs to win a world championship this year. I really do. And if it's not going to be Dominic pulling down that briefcase come July, it should be Jey Uso. If it's not going to be Dominic, it should be Jey Uso. Jey Uso is somebody I think a lot of people wanted to see win that Money in the Bank contract last year, but they didn't go with it. And the fans were deflated about it. They were very well deflated about having Jey Uso lose, to be giving it to Drew to help elevate their story when it didn't need help elevating to begin with, if we want to be honest. So I don't know. I want to try to go into these optimistic, but I just don't know what you're gonna do with a lot of them. Honestly, we'll have to see what they do. But I do think Jay, at some point, needs to find himself in contention for a world championship match and even win the title as well. So I'm gonna say Jey Uso wins that this year. Kairi Sane wins an Intercontinental title as well. I think it's safe to say that she has had a great year from in-ring capacity as well. She's had some decent matches. I think she needs a really strong match to really break out and show that she's still got the fight in her, that she could still go with the very best of them. So I'd say give her a mid-card title this year as well. Moving on to Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross wins a mid card title as well. A lot of these people we're saying right now is winning mid card titles. I feel like, and it might seem crazy, but I think a lot of these people have the opportunity to win. Karrion Kross wins a U.S. or IC title this year. I think it's finally time to have him win a mid card title as well. It needs to happen. I think and he's proven that he can be one of the very best if given the opportunity. I know he's not where he was when he was, on the Indies or in TNA. It's not on those levels, but it's still serviceable nonetheless. It took some time to kind of get around to getting to where he is now, and he's pretty much playing the character of the devil on people's shoulder, getting them to turn heel. And that's been so much of his character, his story arc up until this point. And I think we're going to see that more in 2025. We're going to see him do that. Pretty much tease some more heel turns more this year, which I think is going to happen. Katana Chance and Ken Carter, they're both side by side. I'm going to knock these out. I'm going to knock these out in both with one. I see one of them getting a mid card title opportunity, maybe, but I see them getting another shot at the tag team titles this year as well. Regardless of what they do it, if they do it at Mania and a multi-woman match, or if they do it on a Raw or a PLE, they're gonna get another crack at the tag titles. I feel like so. I could see them doing it. I don't know where, but at some point, I do think they'll get another shot at the tag team championships. Kiana James, I think she comes back and just pretty much just being a manager for Adam Pearce. I think that's safe to say. Maybe they do that story. I don't know what they do with her. I think they kind of brought her up too early to the main roster, in my personal opinion. I think you could have done more with them, but with her on NXT, but they rushed it and she kind of went to the main roster a little too early, in my personal opinion. But that's neither here or there. But hopefully they do something with Kiana. I think she has the look and she has the opportunity to be something special. This is why I said she should have stayed in NXT. She could have been in the mid-card title scene down there to help her elevate her character. And because I feel like a lot of the characters that we see on NXT don't resonate all too well with the main roster. They don't. We see it a lot of times. And I think one of the factions in NXT that I don't think is going to get over in the sense of how we think they are, and that's the none other than what's the faction in NXT? Dawn of NXT, not Dawn of NXT, the family. I don't think they're gonna get over the main roster. But welcome back, Wolf. We pretty much got through some of these names. If you want, I'm gonna go back through a few of them. EO, what do you think is gonna be her 2025? What is gonna look like? I said she wins a mid card title. I say she wins the mid card title. I think having her face, if you have Lyra Valkyrie win that belt, her and EO for that title would be really good.
Maybe, but I feel like it's been done enough.
Well, they're 1-1, so I think they're gonna want to do more.
I think they're probably just gonna keep EO in the main event scene, and in the world title picture. So
Yeah, I could see it. JD, I said he's gonna pretty much be a jobber. He's pretty much just gonna be
yeah,
doing just henchman stuff. Jey Uso, if it's not Dominic, wins Money in the Bank.
okay.
I just Jay, if he doesn't, if Dominic's not winning Money in the Bank this year, Jey Uso should. Jey Uso should win Money in the Bank, or at least win a world title this year. I really feel like he should. It's time. I think so. I don't know. Maybe like you said, maybe they wait until 2026 and then have him win that Royal Rumble in Saudi, because the Saudi fans love Jey Uso. They chant him pretty much loud as much as anyone else. So why not? Um, Kyrie Sane, I think, wins a mid card title this year as well. I do.
yeah. I just hope she starts getting a push. So I'm gonna just say gets a push.
Karrion Cross wins US or IC title this year. He wins the US or
Yeah,
IC championship. I
yeah,
think
that
his
would be
whole character and story arc is pretty much being the devil on people's shoulder, having people to turn heel because of him talking to
yeah,
them. We've seen it with none other than The Miz. We've seen it with The New Day. He's pretty much done this. So I think that's what we do with them. Katana and Caden, I feel like they get another crack at the title at the tag team titles, but I don't think they win. I don't.
yeah.
Me, I'm gonna make another, and then moving on to Kiana. I said goes back to NXT. I just feel like they brought her up too early. I don't. And one
Yeah.
thing about and a lot
I
of these
mean,
fat
her.
people
I'm
and
pretty. I think she has an ACL tear, so that was kind of unlucky.
yeah,
But
I think that she got injured in June
yeah,
in the lead up to that because they had a match. But I don't know. I feel like Kiana needs to go back because I think one of the things with her, if she
oh, I
comes back
just
to the main
had a
roster,
terrible idea. uh,
she she's with Adam Pearce. She might be with
yeah,
Adam Pearce again.
I had an idea that what's it called? People might not like me to say, but
What is it?
I don't know why, but I see it happening.
What is it?
Joins Pure Fusion Collective.
They get a new member
Yeah,
that nobody asked for, nobody cared about. It's crazy to me. I could see that, honestly, when you really put it that way. I could see it. Either that, she goes to back with Adam Pearce and pretty much be like the manager or like the assistant, or she goes back to NXT because I feel like she was brought up to the main roster too early, and a lot of the times, a lot of these people's characters that get them over on NXT don't resonate too well with the main roster because a lot of the people that are fans for the main roster don't really watch NXT like that, so they're not gonna really know who she is. So I think either putting her back in NXT or I don't know what you do with her. I think that's her best case scenario is putting her in NXT. If you put her with Computers Music Collective, that's just a dead on arrival thing for her, honestly. But I could see it.
yeah,
Kofi Kingston wins tag title, wins another tag team championship this year.
yeah.
Liv Morgan wins Royal Rumble. I think that's what happens. Either she's winning the Rumble Chamber. But what do you think is going to be her? Honestly, if we're making a prediction, if we're not even just trying to limit it, what she happens, I think with her losing the title to Rhea, I think by the end of 2025, she wins another world championship.
Yeah.
Whether that's on Raw or SmackDown, I think she wins another world title. Because we do know SummerSlam is going to be in her backyard of Jersey. So I think they're going to want to promote her and be in a high profile match. So why not have her be challenged for the belt at SummerSlam? or maybe walk into the show as champ if she wins at Mania, or something like that. I don't know. What do you
I'm
think?
just going to be more simple. I'm just gonna say feuds with Alexa Bliss.
I see that being for one of the, if Liv was champion or wins the title, I think that should be a feud for a title. Even though it can sell on its own, but I think you want it to have a little bit more oomph, if you
Yeah.
will.
Yeah, I think I could see like a full on storyline between Liv and Alexa.
Now we're gonna try to go through these and get to SmackDown because we still have SmackDown. We're gonna try to skim through some of these. Logan
Okay.
Paul feuds with Cena this year. Feuds with
Sure.
Cena.
Yeah.
Louis Kaiser, he needs a push. He needs a push. That man can go. The
Not
character, he
winning a
can wrestle.
title in 2025 if things keep going the way they are. He will not
Yeah.
win any title.
Lyra Valkyria wins Intercontinental Championship or faces Becky in 2025.
Yeah.
They had that match in NXT, which was really good. Have on the main roster.
Yeah.
The Miz breaks away from Final Testament,
Yeah.
goes over to SmackDown,
Yeah, why not?
and maybe wins the U.S. Championship.
I wouldn't go that far.
I say he wins a championship maybe this year, probably. Maybe.
I don't know.
Because when was the last time we've seen him as champion? Wait, was it 2021? Yeah, it's been 3 years. He's held the last time he won, I think it was the WWE Championship. And before that, I think it was tag title. So that's neither here nor there. Natalia. I don't know what I see Natalia doing.
In the women's intercontinental title division.
But yeah, I think I'd safe to say she does that. Nikki
I wouldn't
Cross.
be surprised if she also wins it, but
Yeah. I don't know what Nikki Cross does. Just, I guess,
more
continues.
stuff with Wyatt.
Yeah. Otis, Jobber, Pete Dunne. Oh my God. How have they fumbled Pete Dunne? The guy can wrestle. This guy is
Yeah.
somebody I wanted to see. I want to see him face Gunther, but the way they're booking him, I don't even think we will get that.
They're
They got him in a feud with R-Truth right now.
I think they're waiting on something in particular.
I don't know what it is. Maybe until
later
Tyler
on,
Bate comes back.
Yeah, all right.
Maybe Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne feud post
Tyler
Mania.
Bate comes back as a heel, and we get heel New Catch Republic, just going on, I guess, a rampage kind of, and
Okay, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
maybe they challenge for tag team titles, but
Next person we're talking about, R-Truth teams with Cena. He wants his childhood dream of teaming with John Cena. Let it happen on a Raw or something like that, and they can have
okay,
his
I
moment.
have a realistic thing, and kind of
It could be realistic,
and
like
then I have a funny thing. I have
okay.
a really funny thing. It would make like no sense. You probably think I'm crazy, but
Okay, some people on my comments
hear me
just have
out.
no
Let
respect.
me cook. Let me cook.
Okay.
So whenever Cena wins a world title, this
R-Truth faces him.
Cena's last opponent for the world title.
Oh,
Cena versus R-Truth, and R-Truth wins his first world title, and then he loses it like the next week.
oh my God. Oh my God. That would be the funniest
R-Truth
segment and
gets a world
show.
title, but it lasts for like 1 week.
I mean, it would still be longer than Finn Balor's because it was only 24 hours. Okay, that was a funny. You got me on that one. Raquel Rodriguez. I'd say wins mid-card title. I don't see her being in the main event scene. I see her being in the mid-card title scene, of course, maybe.
I'm gonna be meaner than that.
Tag team gold?
Not even. Chopper.
I mean, she has
She's
been
buried.
losing.
She's buried. I'm sorry, she's buried.
Yeah, she hasn't really been doing too much, honestly.
As far as I am concerned, she needs to go back to being a babyface.
Or send her back to NXT.
No, not even. Because she works on main roster. She's good for main roster.
It's just her. You don't think she works as a heel?
She's not like people are like, oh, she'd be so much better as a heel. Well, clearly not.
At least when she was a face, she was in.
heel,
At least when she was a face, though, Wolf. Like she was actually doing something.
yeah, like yeah, her character sucked as a face, but like just because she was a good heel in NXT does not mean she's a good heel on main roster.
Yeah.
She is like this. This does not work. Go back to she's got a back. Uh, go back to the back gimmick, and then just be the powerhouse. Like and be babyface. Just don't.
Yeah. Next person, Rey Mysterio loses to Penta. On to the next, Rhea Ripley loses title at Mania.
Yeah, transitional champion.
Whether if that's now, what do you think about this? Now, I know we said we're tired of the triangle with Liv, Rhea, and Becky. What if the whole point of them giving the title to Rhea on Raw so they can take a break for a couple of months and have Liv win it back at WrestleMania or
No,
SummerSlam?
no, I don't. I don't want to see it.
Because I don't know who you have her lose it to.
Yeah,
Either
or
have
hell, Bianca.
I don't see her holding that belt for a whole year. She should not.
Just do.
You know
Rhea
what?
Bianca, like
You know what? I'm gonna make
at
it do this.
SummerSlam or
This is gonna
something.
happen. Rhea loses at SummerSlam,
Yeah,
and I say she loses to Jordan Grace.
could also work. Yeah,
If you can have Jordan Grace be built up from now up until August, there you go. You got at least about 6 months of building Jordan Grace up to face
sounds
Rhea
good.
Ripley.
Perfect.
Sami
Honestly,
Zayn is next. Feuds with Kevin Owens at Mania, or faces Kevin Owens at Mania. Because either it's going to be Kevin and Sammy, or is it going to be Kevin and Orton, which we'll talk about on the other show. But still,
people might not like this idea.
okay.
Wins tag titles with Jay.
Oh my god! I thought you were about to say Jimmy.
Or Jimmy. Jimmy works too, but I don't know. I feel like they might do Jay, but I don't know.
Okay.
Could work.
Scarlett.
But apparently, I'm sorry. Apparently, from the transfer window, Sammy's supposed to move to SmackDown. So maybe,
Wait.
actually, maybe
you know what?
Maybe he does win tag titles with Jimmy.
No. Even better, if he's moving to SmackDown, right? Beats Nakamura for the U.S. Championship.
He could, yeah.
Because if you want a big baby face, you could do number of options. Are they going to move Jay over to SmackDown too?
No, as far as I'm aware.
Okay, so if Sam is going over to SmackDown, have him face Nakamura and him win the U.S. Championship.
I mean, maybe they will, but there's no indication.
You could do that. You could do that. Scarlett has a singles match in this year. I think she has at least one singles match.
Yeah.
Seth freaking Rollins beats Gunther at Mania. Or turns heel.
Actually, goes over to SmackDown.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Oh, brother. Shayna Baszler stuck in Pure Fusion Collective Vortex.
Yeah.
Sheamus wins IC belt some point this year. Sonya Deville stuck in that vortex as well with Shayna. We can also throw Zoe Stark in that conversation as well. We already talked about Tyler Bate, Uncle Howdy. You know what?
I have a wild.
Has singles match with Karrion Kross at WrestleMania.
No.
I could see them potentially dragging this out potentially.
No, I think that's too long.
Because we're in January right now. We still have 100 days. I think you can.
You know what? Well, yeah, no, but apparently, they're gonna do they're gonna ultimately do a final showdown with Final Testament and Wyatt's soon. So, honestly, Uncle Howdy enters the Royal Rumble.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Another prediction. The next person we're talking about, Wade Barrett. Now, I know he's a commentator, but I'm making a bold prediction for him. Comes back as a wrestler. Even if it's a part-time schedule, he comes back as a wrestler. Because I think a while back, there were reports of doing Wade Barrett and Drew at WrestleMania before all this stuff taking place.
Yeah, just do, let's go, Wade in the Rumble, eliminated by Drew, or Wade can eliminate Drew, and then Wade versus Drew at WrestleMania.
Next person we're talking about, Xavier Woods wins mid-card title.
Yeah.
Finally gets his championship. Finally gets his moment.
Yeah.
Zelina Vega wins mid-card title. She needs it. You know what? I'll make a bold prediction for you. Who's on SmackDown that she has a history with? Andrade. She goes back to SmackDown. She gets back with Andrade, and both of them win the U.S. Championship on their brand.
Could work.
That would be so cool. Andrade U.S. Champion, Zelina U.S. Champion.
You know what would be what would also be very funny?
What is it?
After that, Zelina feuds with Charlotte.
Oh no! Now you're talking about another triangle feud. Who's really gonna be with Charlotte? Be like, wait, I'm supposed to be with you. What are you doing? Charlotte, do you not realize people are gonna be
has to keep them away from each other?
No, it's not. It's gonna be terrible for Zelina because a lot of people are gonna just turn off. It's like, well, we know she's not winning.
Yeah.
Moving over to SmackDown. We're gonna go through these. Just try to go through these as much as we can, and quickest as we can. AJ feuds with Shinsuke for the U.S. title and has a actual match, a great match. You know what? If they do this right, maybe AJ is the one that does take that title from Shinsuke, and it happens at WrestleMania, and they finally get to have a WrestleMania match that is not bad like WrestleMania 34.
Yeah, but I have a different idea, a different approach.
Are you about to say goes to Raw?
No, absolutely.
What is it?
AJ Styles versus Gunther.
If so, would you have Gunther be going to SmackDown?
Gunther's going to SmackDown, and Cody's going to Raw.
Oh, they already said that?
They've basically implied it. Yeah.
Oh,
Gunther was
we
talking to
need.
Aldis. Cody was talking to Pierce. So yeah, AJ versus Gunther.
I could see that. Alex Shelley has
More tag
singles
team stuff.
match, more tag team stuff, and maybe has a singles opportunity.
Yeah.
Andrade wins U.S. Championship this year. He's winning a U.S. title this year.
I am gonna go. This is basically.
Are you gonna say him and Gunther, and he beats Gunther for the world
Andrade
title?
versus Gunther.
Oh,
But I think in probably maybe not not this year or even necessarily next year, but I think in the near future, Andrade should win a world title.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Angel Garza, tag team stuff. I'm sorry,
Jobber.
Jobber.
Yeah.
Angelo Dawkins. You know what? I'm gonna put the Street Profits in this together. Street Profits split in 2025.
No, I don't.
I see a split. But you know what?
If you do a split, then one of them has to go to Raw, and the other stays on SmackDown. But they're not
I
like
think
breaking
wherever.
up. But
You know what? I just thought
they're
about it.
just split.
They come back as face, but they have an edge.
Yeah, I mean they're already doing that. I must say, what's it called? Takes tag titles from DIY at WrestleMania.
See that? Yeah. Apollo Crews continue
Go back to NXT.
Continues getting beat by Bloodline.
He needs to go back to NXT.
I agreed. Austin Theory turns babyface.
Yeah.
And on top of that, before he turns face, I have a feeling, what if they built up the person that eliminates John Cena as Austin Theory once again?
No.
I don't think people told me that idea, and I had to think about it, and I was like, it would be cool in a sense of,
if anything, you should do Waller eliminating Grayson Waller.
I was just about to say that. That's my prediction. Austin Theory turns face, but Grayson Waller eliminates Austin Theory in the Royal Rumble. I think that's gonna happen. B-Fab breaks out as a singles wrestler.
In the women's U.S. title division.
Yeah.
Probably Chelsea's second opponent for the women's U.S.
title. Next person we're gonna be talking about. Bayley moves to Raw.
Yep.
I think she's moving to Raw. Like,
yeah.
Why did they change Humberto's name? It's just Berto now.
I have no idea.
Jobber, Bianca, revealed as Jade's attacker.
Yeah. Turns heel.
Blair Davenport needs TV time.
We'll get TV time because of third hour. I don't know.
I'm gonna let you talk about the next few. I'm gonna let you talk about the next few. So you can start.
All right. Braun Strowman. All right. I'm gonna sound like a broken record on this, but what's it called? Braun Strowman versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight title. That's probably gonna be a match. You know what? I'll also put a SmackDown. What else? Candice stays aligned with Nia Jax and probably gets more singles opportunities. Maybe even challenges Tiffany on a random SmackDown. Carmelo. I don't know, because Melo has a lot.
So you talked about Braun. You know what?
Yeah.
Braun Strowman, for me, becomes Grand Slam champion.
Good work.
Because he's the only title he's never held is the U.S.
Yeah. Hell, you could have him beat Nakamura.
You know what would be crazy? That would be very ironic because Braun was the one to beat Shinsuke for the Intercontinental title. And
But no, I said Braun Strowman versus Gunther on a pay-per-view. That's gonna be a pay-per-view match, probably.
What? And then moving on to Candice faces Tiffany
Faces
at
different. Yeah.
faces Tiffany for the title at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Because if they're doing this stuff with
I
Nia,
just
they're
said a
gonna
random
she's gonna be wrapped in all
SmackDown,
that.
but
Carmelo Hayes moves to Raw. I feel like they kind of already said that
yeah,
he's probably gonna be moving to Raw.
they teased he's moving to Raw, but I'm gonna also
Ooh,
say
I just thought about this. We were talking about people who could beat Braun Breaker,
Melo
Carmelo, because Melo beat Braun for the NXT title.
could happen. I'd say Melo wins Money in the Bank.
That would be a good thing for him, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chelsea
Loses title to Michin.
no.
Or you
Loses
think she's gonna lose it to Piper?
Piper, yeah.
Chris Sabin.
In fact, sorry, I want to add to that. I would not be surprised if she loses to Piper at WrestleMania.
Dude, I'm looking at people's comments. We were talking about Liv. You know what somebody's comment said about Liv just now, bro? Somebody says
What?
Liv Morgan is going to being working at Hooters.
No,
What are you?
stop it.
What is people's problem?
Stop.
People just don't like her for no reason.
Yeah, no, it's kind of stupid. Please stop with this desperate hate on wrestlers. Like at this rate, what is Liv the 2024 wrestler that people desperately hate for no reason? Like
They
what we
were
had
doing this. They were doing this all in 2023.
well, yeah, but I'd say they were doing it for Ronda more. But it feels like almost every year they have a wrestler, they choose a wrestler, hate them with all like by any means necessary with your lives, um, for no reason. It's say they're the worst wrestler ever, they can't wrestle, all that, like they're horrible, like it's stupid.
I should be done in 15 minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
Shh.
Sorry. Let's see. Chris Sabin.
We're gonna try to go through these. Yeah, we're gonna try to run through some of these right here. Chris Sabin, Cody Rhodes turns heel.
Yeah, goes to Raw.
Corey
Alexa,
Graves.
Jobber.
Nah, I don't see him doing anything. Ellen Prince and Kit Wilson finally revealed this Broadway musical thing. Finally.
Get tag title opportunity.
Yeah. Giovanni Vinci released.
Released, yeah.
I'm sorry, like there was no reason why you should have him be released.
They killed him.
They shouldn't even have removed him from Imperium to begin with.
Yeah, it was a double burial that day for both Kaiser and Vinci, but Vinci is basically the most likely to be released and probably the next person to get released from WWE.
Grayson Waller eliminates none other than Austin Theory and turns on Austin Theory and becomes a heel.
Yeah, faces Austin Theory at WrestleMania.
Agreed. Jacob Fatu turns on Solo. I say he turns on Solo. Ooh, has match with Roman.
Yeah,
I could see that. Jay Cargill faces Bianca at Mania. I think
Yeah.
it's happening at Mania. Now,
Yeah.
this one might get people's blood boiling. Jimmy Uso.
Wins U.S. title.
Yes.
Yep.
Jey Uso won the IC last year.
Yeah.
This
He's
year, Jimmy wins the US.
it's yeah. Honestly,
It's
I would not be
poetic.
surprised if Jimmy's the one to beat Nakamura. Probably
They
at
did,
Mania.
but here's the thing. Jimmy teased it. He teased it
Yeah.
before he got attacked by Drew. He
Yeah.
says he wants to win singles gold of his own for the first time,
Yeah.
and
And they're
how
gonna
Jay
do it.
inspired him to do that.
Yeah.
Johnny Gargano. I'm gonna put Johnny Gargano and Tommaso together. DIY lose titles at Mania. OC Carl Anderson, Luke, don't even show up on television.
Will probably be on NXT.
LA
The thing
Knight.
is, Carl Anderson is injured, so
Yeah, but still, like, I don't think
yeah.
they're doing anything with them. You know what? I'm gonna put these two together. Nick Aldis is gonna face his wrestler. Nick Aldis faces Kevin Owens at WrestleMania.
No, not at
It
WrestleMania.
would, yeah, I think why not? Because if you have Kevin
Saturday
Owens
night
going
main
up,
event.
you think they'll have those two face a Saturday main event before the Rumble?
Yeah. Nick Aldis just is tired of Kevin and
But it would be
wait
similar
for
to
Cody.
like, wouldn't this be similar to the AJ and Shane McMahon storyline?
Maybe, but
It could be reminiscent to that, but we'll see how that
I
goes.
think my idea is that Aldis can't wait for Cody and Kevin, and it's getting like too problematic. So now, and like Aldis just gets sick of Kevin. So now, Aldis is like Saturday night main event. You're wrestling me.
Yeah. LA Knight.
And I had a funny idea, a very funny idea. I feel like I'd say have Kevin go on a rampage, have
Okay.
him go crazy and still cause problems. So
True.
Saturday night main event, Nick Aldis versus Kevin Owens with Kevin's job on the line. If Kevin loses, he's fired.
Oh, I thought you would have been like, leaves SmackDown.
No. He's
fired?
straight up fired. He's not seeing a WWE ring again.
Okay, that'd be funny. LA Knight. I don't know. You know what? Moves to Raw, wins IC title.
Face
I
is
think
Gunther for the World Heavyweight title.
I could see that too.
Yeah, I
Michin.
don't know.
Michin wins US title this year.
Yeah,
Maybe she beats Piper.
yeah, maybe.
Montez, same thing with Angelo. They'll come back. Naomi, it also is the second part of this heel turn. Both Bianca and Naomi were the ones that attacked her.
Wild.
Why
Maybe.
not? Nia Jax has match with Jordan Grace.
I guess.
Why not? I don't know what else you do with her.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's finish up these last few. Piper wins US Championship easily.
Wait, scroll up. I think we might have missed some. Oh, never mind. It was just behind.
Piper wins US title from Chelsea.
Yep.
Randy turns
Faces Kevin
on.
at WrestleMania.
I said the same thing, but turns on Cody. You know what? I'll take it a step further. Randy, John Cena won last time.
Yeah, maybe. For me, I don't know. I feel like they might want to keep Randy face, especially with the life-threatening, like career-threatening injury. Because I don't. It's a pattern I'm noticing is that when you have a very long injury, uh, you can't be a heel. You just it's hard for you to be a heel because especially on that caliber when you have a career threatening injury. Because I use this example a lot. When
Yeah.
Edge came back to WWE and they tried making him a heel,
And it didn't work. When he became the part of the Judgment Day, he
I
became
am
the leader.
traumatized by the "We Are Sheep" chants. I will forever be traumatized with the "We Are Sheep" chants. And even Edge was like, "Oh my god, this is terrible."
He's just like, I can't even get this over as a heel. People just don't want to boo me.
Yeah.
Rock doesn't have a match in 2025.
Yeah.
On to Roman, loses to Punk at Mania, and then loses to Drew at SummerSlam.
Uh,
What do you think for Roman? I don't.
trying to think. I have two pathways.
Okay.
One, he loses Paul Heyman, probably
I
to
was just thinking
Punk.
about that. Paul
Probably to
Heyman turns on Roman.
Yeah, he turns on Roman, goes back to Punk.
I can
Uh,
see that.
the other pathway is we get Cody versus Roman 3 at some point. Maybe a heel Cody versus babyface Roman.
Possibly. But let's try to wrap these last few up here. We still got NXT tonight. Santos goes back to NXT. I just don't find a place for. I just don't know where you fit on the main roster right now.
No, I don't know. I don't think it's right for him to go back to NXT, but just probably still is on SmackDown and has occasional title opportunities and probably loses them.
Yeah.
Enhancement.
Shinsuke loses to AJ or somebody. Well, I'll just say this: Shinsuke loses U.S. title at WrestleMania. I think he has it from
Yeah,
Survivor Series to Mania.
yeah,
Solo.
yeah.
Solo faces Jacob at WrestleMania. I think Jacob faces Solo at Mania.
Yeah, yeah,
And I guess that kind of coincides with Tama Tonga and Tongaloa. They
right.
stay
They,
aligned with Solo, but Jacob leaves. Tomasa, we already talked about
honestly,
Dia
no, I
Riley.
say Jacob and the Tongans turn on Solo, and
But then
Solo turns
wouldn't that make
baby.
Solo a face though?
Yeah, keep Solo as a face.
Okay.
Because I feel like, I don't know, I think Solo should turn face because I don't think I was not sold on him as a heel.
He
Like
was really
his
good in NXT as a face though. That's the thing.
Yeah, like I don't think him as a heel has worked. Uh, it was kind of working a little bit towards the end, but I don't think it's
Working it to the point
working
people
out
thought it
now,
wanted to.
especially now that he's not not like team with
Tribal
Tribal
Chief
Chief.
anymore, yeah.
Yeah,
And the last person we're gonna talk about, Tiffany Stratton, faces Charlotte at WrestleMania.
yeah.
Yeah, we pretty much went through everybody, you guys. We're about to head out for the day. Wolf, you have anything to share before we head out?
Um, tomorrow's AEW day, I guess.
Yeah, and if Catch me live shortly in less than 2 hours, you guys, for NXT. Me and the Flex Zone will be streaming NXT New Year's Evil. So
Um,
um, I'm looking forward to that. Julia and um, Roxanne having a good match. I think Julie's winning. I want to see Obafemi win the NXT Championship, but I don't think it's going to happen yet because of that triple threat. So I think they're going to hold off on him winning until Stand Deliver. But I think it's overall going to be a good show. We're going to have The Rock on NXT tonight. We're going to see what he has to say. That's looking interesting for me. But with that being said, hope everybody has a great day, great rest of the week. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's get to let's try to get to 500 subscribers on the Bring It to the Ring podcast channel this year. Let's make that happen. Let's get to 500 this year. Let's make it happen. Start off the year fresh. Let's start off very well with our New Year's revolution and getting to 500 here. Subscribe to Wolf, Willie on their channels and what they're doing with 2K and stuff like that. We got 2K25 coming out very, very soon, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm probably going to drop some 2K25 videos, you guys, for once it comes out, and maybe talk about some things happening with the game before we get the release and stuff like that. So if you're looking for that as well. But with that being said, hope it has a great day, great rest of your week, and we'll see you guys in the next video or live stream.